Hey guys, welcome back to today's episode. So I am doing a solo episode today. I figured possibly once a month, maybe at the start of every month, I would do a little recap of Next Chapter Collective's month and share with you guys everything that's happened, some updates, what we have coming, as well as a little episode sharing a topic that I wanted to chat about. So today's episode is a recap of the first month of Next Chapter Collective. I'm going to talk about our first mom walks. I'm going to talk about the first 3 guests that we had on the podcast, as well as the shop and the pieces that we've launched and some new updates that are coming in the shop. So for today's episode, after I chat about the first month of Next Chapter Collective, I do want to talk about a topic that I feel like is so common, and I found an amazing article that I want to dive into, and it's all about the concept of losing yourself in motherhood, which I feel like at some point all of us moms can relate to it. So I want to dive into the article, share some of my thoughts on that. But first, let's talk about the first month of Next Chapter Collective. So this episode is coming out on May 2nd, and yesterday, May 1st, was officially 1 month since I announced Next Chapter Collective, which I had worked so hard on the whole concept of it and launching it and everything. So to see it come alive and to announce it and have moms know about it and launch the Instagram and the website and everything and get all the feedback and the messages and all of this positive support has been truly surreal. I had high expectations for it, but you guys have truly blown me out of the water with the support, and I think it just proves that this mom community is so strong and that we all want to grow the community and support each other, and that we really aren't in it alone. So I first want to say thank you guys for all the support, whether it comes to the shop, the podcast, the mom walks, all of it. It's been so amazing. The fact that there's already 300 of you on Instagram following along and supporting each other is crazy and amazing to me. So I first wanted to dive into that, and then we will get into the article. So a little recap of the first month. Let's talk about the podcast. The first mom I had on was Kelsey, which she, in my opinion, it was such a perfect interview to start off these mom interviews for the podcast, because she was just so knowledgeable, and we honestly could have sat here and talked for 5 hours. We chatted about the invisible load that moms have, as well as mental health and motherhood, and it was such a good interview. She has 3 boys of her own, and she has a background in social work, so she, I feel like, had so much to talk about, and we always message on social media about everything when it comes to this kind of things, like just mom topics in general. So I knew that I wanted to have her on, and I knew I wanted to have her on for one of the first episodes. And it was so good. I feel like the invisible load that we have as moms is truly so real, and it's not talked about enough. And obviously mental health is a huge topic that's not talked about enough either. So that was such a good interview. Also, before I keep going, if you have not seen or listened to any of these episodes, every episode that we've launched so far for the podcast is available to watch on YouTube, and it's also available to listen to on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So all the links will be down below in the description bar for that if you want to go back and listen or watch any of these episodes. So Kelsey was an amazing first mom to have on. The second mom I had on was Nicole, and this episode got so much support and feedback, and it made me so happy that it did. And I know Nicole felt so loved and supported as well. Nicole talked about pregnancy loss. She lost her baby at 36 weeks, and she chatted about that entire experience, as well as how she has moved forward, how she has honored her baby girl and her family now, and just the heartbreaking reality of losing a baby. And I feel like whether the moms that listened or watched this episode had lost a baby or had not lost a baby, they still just connected with her, and it seems like you guys all really felt something from that episode, which was obviously the goal, to honor Etta and to help any mom in any way. So Nicole was amazing. She was such an open book. And I truly, truly, truly admire her and her bravery and her strength and how she has gotten through everything that she's been through and how she helps other moms and how she has honored Etta. And that was a pivotal episode, and one I was really grateful that I got to be a part of with Nicole. And then the third mom I had on, which was last week's episode, was Annie, I loved this episode. She is such a boss mom. She has a little girl and she also owns multiple businesses. And I loved sitting down with her, just being a mom and also owning businesses as well. I love sitting down with her and talking. We talked about entrepreneurship in general, how she started, as well as her businesses and where they're going right now. They're taking some huge steps this year, which is so exciting. I'm so excited for her. And then we also talked about her pregnancy journey, her birth story, because it did not go to plan, and balancing and juggling mom life while also running businesses. I really admire her because she is I think she just sees life in such a unique way, and she's so to the point. She is such a strong individual, and she really is an amazing entrepreneur. I look up to her in many ways. So I just loved her insight. I loved her opinions. It was a really, really good interview. So this first month of podcasts with these three moms were incredible. I couldn't have imagined them going any better, to be honest with you. They were all so forthcoming with, their opinions and their stories and their experiences and information. And the topics were all things that just I don't think are talked about enough, and I feel like they all resonated with a lot of you. That invisible load, the mental health and motherhood, pregnancy loss and moving forward from that, juggling mom life and work life and being an entrepreneur while also being a mom. And I think those are just all topics that can be talked about more. So that was amazing. That first month was great. What we have coming for the podcast, the next few moms that I have on, I'm really excited about. We have a mom coming on to chat about her IVF experience. She went through years of IVF, and she and her husband finally got blessed with a little baby boy, which I actually had the honor of photographing for his newborn session, and she was on a mom walk with us as well last month. So I cannot wait to have her on. So she will be on soon, as well as a mom coming on to talk about fitness. And she's actually pregnant right now. So she's talking about fitness while you're pregnant, while you're a mom, workouts, staying healthy physically, mentally, all of that. So she's a fitness instructor, and I'm really excited to have her on. I think she'll have a ton of insight, and she's also one of the sweetest people I know. So she will be on soon as well. I also have a mom. She actually reached out to me right before I started recording this episode today, and I'd love to have her on this upcoming month. Her husband was deployed, and she was not able to tell him that she was pregnant until he got home, and he now works out of town multiple weeks of the month. So she wanted to share the story of when she was pregnant, but also this dynamic of having a family and having a husband and a baby, but also having him away for periods of time and having to essentially be a single mom while he's away, just that whole dynamic. So that I think is very interesting, and I'm actually really excited to sit down with her and chat. So those are just a few of the episodes we have coming. I also have quite a few moms emailing me and messaging me, reaching out, sharing their story, and asking if I would be interested in having them onto the podcast, which I love. If I haven't gotten back to you yet and you have reached out to me, I will be reaching out to you soon because I'd love to have all of you on. So if you know anyone, or if you are someone who would like to be on and you would like to share your story in any capacity, then feel free to email me, and I'd love to chat about that. Okay, let's talk about the mama walks. We have had 2 mama walks so far. I had 3 planned for April, and the last one we had to cancel because of the weather. But hopefully now that the weather's getting nicer, we won't have to do that too many more times. The first mom walk was amazing. We had, I think, like a handful, maybe 5 moms come out. It was so much fun. It was such a good way to start the day. We all brought our babies and walked along the water. It was a beautiful morning and so much fun. And then for our second walk, that was on a Saturday morning. We had, I think there were almost 10 of us, which was amazing. And we walked in the same spot that we had for the first walk. And it's just such a good way to start the day. We walk for like 45 minutes. By the time we get in the car to leave, it's about an hour. And these mom walks have been so much fun. It's so fun to see you guys get excited about them and share them and like bring a friend along. It's been so much fun. So I'm really excited for those. When you are watching this, the May calendar for mom walks has already come out. So we have 3 mom walks scheduled for May. If you want to check out the calendar, head to the website or to the Instagram. We have them up there. We have 3 walks planned. I believe one is a Monday and the other 2 are Fridays, I believe. But this month I am trying out some later times as well. So the first 2 mom walks that were in April, those were both at 10 a.m. However, I had quite a few moms reach out to me and ask if I would add some later times in. So some 3:30, some 4:30s. So 2 of the 3 mom walks this month are later in the day. So we have a 10 a.m. and then we have a 3:30 and we have a 4:30. So if you would like to come and you can make it later in the day, be sure to check out that calendar for May. And I'd love to have you join in. You can RSVP right through the website or through the Instagram, through the link in the bio, and come to one of the mom walks. I'm really excited for those, and I'm just excited to see them grow and to see all of you guys, especially as the weather gets nicer. It's just been so much fun. So that is what we have planned for those mom walks. They were so much fun. We're adding in some later times. And then I'm hoping once we get into June and into summer, I'll be doing like 4 walks and we'll be adding in a weekend again. May is just a little crazy for me work-wise and personally. So we're going to do 3 dates for May, but I'm hoping to add on 4 for summer on. So be sure to go check those out. I'd love to see you at one of the walks or all of the walks, whatever you can make it to. And then finally, I just wanted to chat about the shop really quick. So the shop launched in early April, and we have new pieces every Thursday. So we've launched, the first piece was a Here's to the Mamas crew neck. So it was this style crew neck, but in black. And it says in like a script font, Here's to the Mamas, which I loved. The second launch was also crew necks. They were available in sand and black. And it was a puff mama print. So it just said mama in capital letters across the front. And it was a puff vinyl. So it was almost like a raised puffy look, which was fun. A lot of you guys liked that one. And then we launched the Mom Era tees, which those blew up. These were the colors for them. I'll show them to you right now. So we have the blue, the green, orchid, which is the light purple, and then pepper, which is like a charcoal. The tees that I launched that said in my mom era, you guys went crazy over them, which I was so excited for. I wanted to start with some fun colors, and I'll also be expanding into other colors soon, which I'll get into, but they were just fun because I feel like anyone can be in their mom era. Like if you're a mom, you could be pregnant in your mom era, you could be in the newborn phase in your mom era, you could have toddlers, you could have kids in college, like any of that. We are all in our mom era. So those tees were a huge hit. All of this is still available as well in the shop. If you are hearing this or seeing this and you would like to grab one, they're available on the website. But I was shocked but so excited for the reaction from the mom era tees. So those I have some plans for I want to turn some of them into crew necks. I want to get some more colored tees, but you guys definitely loved those. And then we just launched last week. We launched the Strong as a Mother tops. So I have on the crew neck right now. It says Strong as a Mother right in the corner, and it's also available in the black crew neck. So I'll hold up the black crew neck as well. This is the black crew neck, so it says the same thing, Strong as a Mother. And then it's also available in the 4 color tees that the mom era tees were in. So it's also available in all of these colors. It's been really fun to design these and come up with these and to see like what you guys like, what you guys want more of. It's been really fun. So those are the pieces we've launched so far in the shop, but I do want to chat about what I have planned. As I went through this first month designing the pieces, seeing your reactions, seeing what you guys like, I feel like I have a pretty strong idea of where I want the shop to go. I also really want to expand the shop as time goes on. So I'm really going to be honing in on like specific designs, specific pieces, and I'm also going to be expanding a little bit into baby and toddler / kid pieces as well. We also have like Stanley tumbler dupes coming. I'd like to get into a little bit of accessories, but I have a very specific vision, color palette, all of that for the shop. So I'm really excited to kind of hone in on that as time goes by. This next month, I'm really going to be planning out, especially going into summer, I'm going to be planning out exactly what I have ideas for when it comes to the shop. And I really want to start doing monthly shoots. And I know I posted about this last week, and I had over 20 moms reach out saying they'd be interested in photographing or coming in to have me photograph them in new merch pieces for the shop. So I've written everyone's names down that were interested in that, and I will be reaching out to everyone as time goes on, because I would like to do monthly shoots with a bunch of moms in new pieces and kind of plan all that out. So I have a lot of ideas, and as time goes on, I'll share more of that. But I really would like to grow the shop, and I have a lot of ideas for it. So I'm really excited for that. So all in all, just a big recap of the first month. I'm truly just, again, floored and grateful for the support that you all have shown, whether it's sharing podcast episodes, even the moms coming on the podcast. I'm grateful that they took time out of their day to come sit with me and talk about these subjects, and just the support we've gotten in the shop, and you moms coming on the mom walks and sharing those and inviting your friends. It's just been so amazing. So I can't wait to see this community grow some more, and I just wanted to say thank you. Now, I wanted to get into this article. The article I found, I got a credit where I found it, from wendymillermeditation.medium.com. And the article was titled, Lost Yourself as a Mom? Ask Yourself These Questions. So it goes through 7 questions that you should ask yourself if you feel like you have lost yourself as a mom. And before I get into the questions, the intro of the article, I'm just going to read here and there pieces from the article that I feel like really stuck out to me. So the intro of the article, it says, from the day they're placed in our arms to the day they move out and have a life all their own, there are many places along the motherhood path where you can end up veering off and losing who you are. This can be especially true if you tend to identify mostly or even solely as a mother. There needs to be more to you than just being a mom. There needs to be a part of you that is just for you, not your kids or a partner or friends or anyone but you. But when you're caught up in parenting, it's not always easy to take a step back and find that part. What an intro, because I feel like the second that I became a mom, my entire life and all of my priorities shifted towards my baby, which as it should. But I think along the way, it's so easy to get caught up in that day-to-day of those priorities and completely put yourself on the back burner and forget that you have to take care of yourself as well. So the first question in this article that the writer said you should ask yourself if you feel like you've lost yourself is, what did you base your identity on pre-kids? So she says, how did you decide your identity before kids? Was it based on being someone's wife or girlfriend, a career, a passion? Did you even know who you were pre-kids? Some moms, upon trying to figure out what they base their identity on, realize that they actually feel like they never really knew who they were. For them, mom was the first identity they ever really felt they had. So for me, I got pregnant at 21, and it was a planned pregnancy. However, looking back, my husband and I still look at each other and laugh sometimes, because when we think back to when we sat down and decided that we wanted to try having kids, I was 21, he was 24 or 5, and we still look at ourselves and say, what the hell were we thinking? In the sense that, obviously, I would never change a single thing, but in the sense that we had no idea what we were doing. We had absolutely no idea. When I got pregnant at 21, I was just about to graduate aesthetic school. my life was, to put it lightly, flipped upside down. I was going through a lot. My family was broken and in a lot of turmoil. Ty and I had not been together that long. I was living with him in his aunt's basement, and he was driving to Vermont every day for a teaching position. And I didn't even have a job yet. I was still in school. I was about to graduate. And for some wild reason, we thought that was the perfect time to try to have a baby. So I was 21 when I got pregnant, and when I had Lane, I was 22. And I remember I graduated school in April. I found out I was pregnant in April, I think like literally a week before I graduated. So I graduated school in April. I launched my business in May, which everyone thought I was crazy for that as well. I launched my business in May, and I had Lane in December. So I had a brand new business and a brand new baby, and I had no idea what I was doing. And I think that because of everything that was happening in my life and how crazy it was and how much was up in the air, I truly do think that me becoming a mom was honestly, like this article said, it was the first identity that I ever felt like I really, really had, because I wasn't married yet, and I felt like this was the first identity that was given to me that I really like clung to and identified with. So that it was just a crazy time, and I feel like ever since then, I mean, Lane is 5.5 now, and the last 5.5 years, I see myself as a mom first, which I think, again, they are your priority. So as you should, but I think in the last year or so, as my kids have gotten older, I've really realized how much I have not put myself first or even second, and how much I still have to do to really take care of myself, and how important that is, and how bad my mental health can get if I don't do that. So I think that is really important to recognize the identity that you had and what you base your identity on pre-kids. Because for me, I didn't, not that I didn't have one, but I was so wrapped up in everything else going on in my life, the good and the bad, that motherhood was truly the first thing I clung on to, which again is beautiful, and they are the best things that have ever happened to me. And I couldn't imagine my story going any other way. But I do think it's significant that when I think back, the role of mother is really that first identity that I clung on to. The second question in this article: what changes other than having kids contributed to your loss of identity? So she said, but figuring out what other changes caused you to feel you lost your identity can help you figure out how to get it back. When you realize that quitting your job to become a stay-at-home mom made you feel lost, you can acknowledge that you'd rather be a working mom. So I think that is so important to recognize any step along the way that you made, or any decision you made along the way that gave you that switch to where you felt like, okay, wait, I think I'm losing myself. For me, I know that I have to work. I've always, I've been through a lot at a young age, and I kind of had to grow up pretty quickly through the things that I've been through. And I think starting pretty young, I just became an adult. And I've always had a pretty strong work ethic. And I do value a lot of my identity on working. So I know for me, for example, I couldn't be a stay-at-home mom because I need that time for myself to work and to run my businesses, because that's where I feel part of my, self-worth. I also know that I do best as a mom when I also have time away from my boys. And I know my boys thrive more when they have time away from me and my husband to go socialize with other people. For other people, they find that their mental health and their identity as a mom and as a person is best when they are stay-at-home moms. Everyone is so different, but I think identifying where you are at and what is best for you and what makes you feel the best is huge in knowing and in having your identity. The third question: How much are you prioritizing everyone or everything else over yourself? This is not for me. So she said, we moms have a tendency to want to put everything and everyone else ahead of ourselves. Whether, it's being a mom, being a good employee, being a good friend, being a good spouse. And she said, take some time to honestly assess your priority list, who and what is on it and where you are on it. More importantly, remember that priorities can and should be fluid. Be willing to adjust and adapt that priority list to suit the situation, including putting yourself at the top at least sometimes. I am so guilty, and I'm sure a lot of you are watching as well or listening as well, of putting myself at probably the very bottom of my priority list. And I think that it derives from me being a chronic people pleaser because I truly want to please everyone around me, which tends to bite me in the ass sometimes. But I truly am a people pleaser, which I feel like in the last year or so I've really been trying to slowly work on because I think I put everyone else ahead of myself. But I'm learning to say no. I'm learning to know if I don't want to do something, I don't have to go do it. I don't have to do it just to please someone. I don't have to say something just to please someone. And truly just recognizing that my mental health, my happiness, my priorities, and what I do with myself and my life and my family truly is not dependent on anyone else. And it's not dependent on anyone else's opinions. So I'm learning to say no. I'm learning to stop and think about what I want, what will benefit my happiness, my mental health. But it's so hard. It is so hard because I can say that I'm working on it and I am working on it, but it is like it's a lifelong thing to work on because it's so hard. And especially as a mom, it's so hard to put yourself first because you feel guilty for doing something for yourself if you're not with your kids. And I mean, even it's not just with moms, even with dads. My husband will like plan a golf day with his friends or, stay after school to work out. And he says to me all the time, like, I had to come home early because I felt guilty for not being with the boys. I think it's so common. And I think it's hard. It's like that balance between between being an active parent and still doing things for yourself. Because if I don't take care of myself or do things for myself that make me happy, then it affects everyone around me. But I also want to be an active parent as well. So it's a struggle, but I think at least, like it said in this article, putting yourself at the top of your priority list at least sometimes. Carving out time, even if it's an hour, to do something for yourself is so important. The fourth question: what outlets, whether they're creative, physical, etc., make you feel like yourself again? So she said, and when we try these different outlets, we often find a few that make us feel like who we once were. Those are the outlets you'll want to keep using. Those outlets will help you reconnect with your former self and tap into those things you feel are missing right now. But don't limit yourself just to those outlets you've done in the past. Try new things too. Which I have honestly, I think I've said for like a year and a half now that I want to get into therapy, which I remember a couple months ago, I told my mom that I was going to start therapy and she like whipped her head around and was like, what's wrong? And I just looked at her and I was like, nothing. But I don't think that therapy is a bad thing. I don't think it should be looked at as something that's a negative. I think it only really strengthens your mental health. And I think that I could really only benefit from it. So whether it's therapy, whether it's a girl's night, a mom's night out, just not feeling guilty for doing something for yourself, which this ties into the third question as well. So finding those outlets that make you feel like you again. The fifth question: how can you connect with your inner and higher self? Which this also ties in as well. She said, as moms, we spend a lot of time focusing our energy and attention outward. We're taking care of the kids, we're getting work done, we're paying bills, we're nurturing relationships and other people. So start by brainstorming all the things you could do to connect and don't rule anything out yet. So whether it's meditation, journaling, thought exercises, yoga, anything mentally that can benefit you is so important. So those all tie together. The sixth question: what new life goal or life purpose can you set for yourself? So in this article, which I obviously related to, she said, I got pregnant at 21. Until that point, my entire life goal had been becoming a mom. And once I became a mom, I felt like I'd lost my identity because I had nothing to pursue anymore. So she said, what else do you want to do with your life other than raise your children? Maybe there's a charity you can get involved with, a business you want to create, or something that sparks excitement in you. So like I said earlier, I also got pregnant at 21. So almost the entirety of my 20s has been motherhood. And I had a lot happen in my life at 20. So when I look back at my 20s, I'll be 28 next week. So in 8 days. So when I look back at the last, 27, 28 years, it's been being pregnant or being a mom. And it's been so beautiful and so amazing. And I have said to my husband before, I don't know what you did to me, because I really never thought that I would be pregnant or having kids until like right now, like 27, 28. So the fact that I'm almost 28 and I have 2 kids and my oldest is 5.5 is crazy to me, but it's also amazing. And I literally would not change a single decision I made or a single part of my story. But realizing and understanding that my entire 20s essentially was being a mom does help me a little bit understand why sometimes I have felt lost in my identity. Because I've devoted so much time that I've loved to being a mom, but it's also time that I haven't necessarily focused on myself. And I also opened my first business right before I had my first son. So I've only ever really known being a business owner while also being a mom. So all in all, to say, I am slowly learning to make decisions and grow my businesses in ways, for me, and in ways that I want to see them grow as I get older, as my kids get older, as my family, grows and gets older. And I think I'm slowly now starting to realize the importance of having these goals and having these purposes outside of being a mom, because that's always my priority. But outside of being a mom, what are my goals and what do I want to accomplish, whether it's personally, whether it's professionally, whether it's in my marriage, whether, any of that. What are my goals? And the 7th question, the last question, was, in what ways are you evolving? So if you find yourself in this identity crisis, ask yourself, in what ways am I evolving? She said, sometimes the problem isn't that we've lost our identity. Sometimes the problem is that we're evolving and we're trying too hard to hold on to an identity that no longer fits. Life and motherhood are both constantly full of change. If you're not prepared for it, these changes can knock you off your feet and make you feel like you've lost who you are. But with a little introspection and time, you can get back on your feet and reconnect with who you are. And if you've outgrown who you once were, that same introspection and time can help you to get to know the new you. So that one I think was my favorite, because we are always evolving. And at least I know for me, going into my 28th year, I'm not who I was at 20. I'm not who I was when I became a mom at 22. I'm not who I was last year when I turned 27. I am constantly evolving, and I think we all are. And I think we're all growing. We are all making mistakes. We are all learning. We are all overcoming obstacles. We are all succeeding and celebrating our successes. We are all feeling confused. We're all feeling excited. We are feeling everything and anything all of the time. And I think we as moms put on so much of that onto ourselves. And motherhood is amazing. It is amazing. It is single-handedly the best thing that's ever happened to me. But I think it's okay, and I think it's even healthy to say that I love being a mom. But even sitting here today recording this podcast, I know that I still need to find myself again. I know that I'm working on it, and I know that I'm taking steps, some of which I've talked about today, to find myself. And like this 7th question said, I think I'm learning that me finding myself again while also being a mom is also me realizing and accepting that this person that I'm finding is a little different, and that's okay. She's different. She's definitely stronger. she maybe is a little more tired, but she's someone I'm proud of, and she's someone that I'm looking forward to seeing. I don't know why I'm talking in third person, but I'm looking forward to seeing what I still have, whether it's a mom, whether it's a wife, in my business, just as a person. And I think we all need to sometimes sit down and think about that. How far have you come? And how much have you changed? And the change doesn't have to be bad. It's okay to change. It's okay to evolve. I read a quote the other day that said, being a mom is the best reason you'll ever have to take care of you. And I don't think, at least for a lot of us, that we maybe don't take care of ourselves enough. I know I don't, and I don't want to speak for everyone else, but I think it's a common thing that I hear, that just being a mom, you don't take care of yourself enough. But I think that quote really proves, it is, being a mom in general is the best reason to take care of you. You cannot fill anyone else's cup unless, yours is full. You need to take care of yourself to take care of anyone else. So, a lot changes. Your priorities, your hopes, your worries, your interests, your boundaries. It's all beautiful. It's all confusing. But it's all part of being a woman. It's all part of being a mom. And I just hope that if you guys get anything out of this podcast today, out of this episode, it's that it's okay to lose yourself. And it's really common to lose yourself. And it's okay to say you're not okay. It's okay to say that you need to find yourself again. It's also okay to say that this person that you're finding again looks a little different than the one that was there before. So that is it for today. I hope you guys liked this episode. I really just wanted to touch on this because I'm kind of in this journey right now myself of kind of this identity and figuring out who I am as a mom, who I want to be as a mom, who I am as a woman and a wife, and who I want to be, and the things that I can do to make myself better, the mistakes that I made that I can learn from. And I think we all can benefit from sitting down and talking to ourselves for a minute. So yeah, that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you again so much for this first month of Next Chapter Collective. I will never be able to express how grateful I am, but I will say it a million times until you guys are annoyed and sick of me. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And I can't wait to see what we have in store with the mom walks, with this podcast, with the shop, and just growing this community in general. I am so excited to see where it goes. So I hope you guys have a great week, and I will be back next week with another mama right next to me. Bye, guys.